guys, it's Amber, and I'm getting ready to work on day 19. So I'm working on the back of this vellum sheet here. So one of the things that I need to consider is covering all the stitching, which is at almost 3 inches wide. And what I have here, I switched two of my stories around so I could make this make a little bit more sense here. That's my 19. So what I have is some pictures of cookie baking, just like a close-up shot of my chips, one of the doughs, and just some in the act of being baked and stuff. And then I also have some that I put together as kits to give away, and then just another shot here as well. I intentionally removed one of the cookies so I'd have a place to put like an embellishment or something. So what I will be using is, I just have some stuff tucked away here, is one of these divided page protectors that's in the 10x8 size. And I know I'm going to have two 4x6s, and then I'm going to make some round pieces here for the 4x4 pocket. So one of them is going to be probably this one. I printed two different colors just to kind of give myself some options. And then I'm kind of pre-planning mentally what is going to be on the back for day 20. So I kind of have some stuff gathered here. So my plan is to cut these out at 2.5 inches, but I was thinking about making myself a little border or like another patterned paper that could go at the like I needed something not quite 3 inches, so I've tried to make myself something that is 2 3/4 inches. So I don't have any punches that are that size. I don't think anyone makes them, and I don't have any templates that are that size. What I did originally was I took some vellum and I traced a 3 inch and then a 2.5 inch, and I was going to just kind of eye it up and get it as close as I could, and then I was playing around with my cup size, and then I realized the bottom of my cup is pretty much right where I needed it to be. And to be honest, I didn't even really measure it because it didn't matter. It was the closest that I had, but it's pretty much right at 2 3/4, which is just perfect. So I had talked about this in one of my other videos about just looking for things around you that can help you tell your stories like you need. So my goal is, and I kind of, so what I need to do is, this is Heidi Swap patterned paper. I don't want the pink and candy canes to show through on the back side. So what I did is I traced these out onto white photo paper, and I'm going to mount that to this paper. But before I go any further, what I need to see is what these are going to look like punched out. So I have my 2.5 inch punch here from EK Success. I'm going to pop those out. I basically need to see what it's going to look like. And I'm going to have one that's going to be open. I had originally considered just putting the 19 on top of the 18, but I think I'm actually going to put it on this photo here. And I also have this awesome 4-inch punch that I just got. It's from a brand called Punch Bunch. I didn't even know that there was a 4-inch punch out there, but it has like a nice locking mechanism like these do, so it folds as flat as possible. So I'm going to be using that to punch this guy out later. For now though, what I really want to see is what these are going to look like. So I printed them at 2 3/4 inches because what I need to see is what it's going to look like, and if I want the pattern, if I want to make them all the same or to be a little different. Come back to that in a second. I should have scaled these just slightly smaller. I'm trying to just get like the most here. I printed out so you can see 9, but that's about as good as I get. So one thing I don't have set up yet is my journaling, and I'm still deciding if that is going to go on a 2.5 inch circle as my 6th spot, or if I'm going to make that an embellishment. I think I'm going to make it an embellishment, or if it's going to go as one of these 4-inch circles, which I haven't, you know, created yet. Unlike the other one where you can go in from this side and do it one-handed, you have to go in from this side. And I did notice, even though I sized this at 4 inches, that it printed slightly smaller. So it'll have a little bit of a white rim, which is fine. I just need to get it centered here. And the other thing I need to do is turn on the other light. There we go, sorry. He did some brightness. Okay. That is one unfortunate thing about the design, is that you can't punch it with your right hand. I actually haven't really used this yet, but it just gives you a nice clean cut, which is awesome. And I never like to waste paper, so I'm fine with having an extra, because I might be able to either use it or I will save it and use it another time. Just have to trim a little bit more off here. So I left myself a little bit of room to add an embellishment to here if I wanted to. Potentially a word phrase sticker. Maybe like a strip of pattern paper. Along here. So those I've got ready. So I can start kind of visualizing what this will look like. And I'm going to trim these with my paper cutter, but for now, just want to get them laid out here. I'm thinking about putting the 19 there. So what I need to decide is like what I'm going to do about the pattern paper here. I was picking this color to help tie in with all the red over here, but I'm debating if I just go with my old standby of some other pattern paper that matches the kit. The main kit from Allie Edwards, I should say. Or do I just go with like bright white instead to help them really pop? Because the white is always a good idea. I'm so annoyed though because my pen did not, I didn't want to use a slick writer, but it looks like I might have needed to because my ink is transferring. So I'm trying to be extra careful here. Yeah, I'm just trying to decide. would put an embellishment. I'm considering in the middle here, and I could still put the 19 there. I just don't think I want to. I do like it there. So I picked out a few circle embellishments here. So I have this Making Spirits Bright, which I picked because it's kind of this same like tealy green. I picked these in case I wanted to like stamp something on them and put them like in the middle of the photo, just something different. Stars, because you know they match. One of these verse here, maybe like a 'Tis the Season, could look cute. Help pull some of this gold in. I have one from I think last year's kit that says Baking Cookies that I considered actually, you know, if the number did go somewhere else, putting it here, but it was like a little too small. You know, I could kind of just pop it in the middle, which is why I kind of grabbed a small selection of round embellishments. You know, could pop it in just about anywhere. And then I have these stickers from Ellie's Studio. So this one is also a white and green Baking Spirits Bright. I have all these sugar cookies, but since these aren't sugar cookies, I was thinking I'd stay away from that. Not that you couldn't, I just wasn't sure. I did like potentially considering a strip across the bottom. So I have Fresh from the Oven. There's some homemade here. I'm trying to remember what all I looked at here. And then the holiday baking I was considering. So just, you know, need to make some decisions on what I'm going to do and how I'm going to handle my journaling. So I think I'd prefer my journaling to be circle again, to kind of repeat all the big circles. The question is, what color do I make it? I was considering making it like this again, but even potentially making it a brighter red, because these are pretty dark and it looks good, but it's very, very dark. Oh, and I also grabbed these from my Tim Holtz collection. And then these were some hearts that I was considering for the other side, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't, you know, be used over here to layer something and just add a different shape. So just something I was thinking about. So just gotta make some decisions, but the groundwork is pretty much laid down and ready to go. The only other thing I wanted to check for was any die cuts that I might have that would potentially match. And I was even looking at some of these bright red stars to bring these back from earlier in the album. So we will see you once I make some decisions. Okay, so one of the things you're going to notice right here is that I've gotten a lot done, and I did a lot of it off camera. So I printed out some more of the holly paper digitally. I'm obsessed with this paper. I really am. I love it. It goes with everything. So my first attempt was to print out a 6x8 sheet for me to cut pattern paper from. And I realized then it was way too large, but I did cut a 4-inch circle out to back on my journaling, which you see there. And then I scaled it down smaller. Like I took the entire 11x8 pattern, scaled it down to basically 3x4 so that it was smaller. And then I actually printed out 6 different times on one 8.5x11 sheet of paper so that I could trim each of them out individually. And that's how I got my small circles there. So I did all of that off camera because I had to trace them and cut them each by hand since I don't have a punch. So I printed the journaling, just red text on my white photo paper and mounted that down. And now I'm just getting ready to assemble after I've done all of my decision making. So I've got this sticker, this pinked gold sticker popped up on my Gina K foam squares. And as soon as I put it down, the top right corner kind of stuck down to the paper. So it needed a little bit more underneath to keep it popped up. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just cutting one into a triangle there, just to help support it a little bit more. And then I'm going to do each of these individually, and then I'll mount them all at one shot. So this one I'm adding one single foam square underneath that tiny sticker that says homemade. This one is from the advent calendar kit. Just doing the same thing. I didn't intend to put something in the middle of every photo, but I don't mind it because, like, they're cookies. Like, you can tell that they're pictures of cookies. You can see that they're, you know, globs of cookie dough on a cookie sheet. Like, it's not like the picture needs to be there. And this allowed me to repeat some elements like circles and to use up some stash. And it's kind of been, I guess you could say, like, my vibe this album this year, because there's so much room with this 11x8 size to embellish that I've really been trying to take advantage of it. You know, I can put in more photos, I can put in more embellishments, and I'm not trying to limit myself, basically. So then I used my Gina K score tape in the 1/2" size to mount all the photos down. All are done except the bottom middle there, because I still haven't figured out my embellishment yet. And I'm adding my number. Inside I'm tucking in a little piece of pattern paper that I saved just to draw some attention. And then I'm just mounting that straight down. I finally made a decision on what I'm going to do. So I'm taking a Heidi swap stamp that says Holiday Cheer. I did some measuring and I knew I could fit it into an 1.5 inch circle punch. And this is a scrap of paper. It's from one of Allie's designs in the kit that I had printed really large, and I've just kind of been saving the scraps to use in little pieces, as you can see. I wanted to try to get away with a 1 3/4 inch, but I didn't have enough room. So you see me testing it there to see if I could get away with it, and I couldn't. So I just punched out that circle, and I used my Tim Holtz stamping platform there, as you saw. And I was just testing this to see if it was dry yet. And I'm just using a scrap piece of paper to put it down in case it was slightly tacky. I just didn't want StazOn to transfer onto my white desk there. So I decided not to pop this one up and just leave it flat, because I knew I wanted to put some sort of embellishment on it. And I wasn't quite sure what yet, but just something else to sort of help break up the circle a little bit. So I'm just getting that mounted down. And I wanted to put on some light green chipboard stars, but they kind of were like blending into the background and not standing out. And I didn't want to use red, of course, and green. The greens just weren't, it just wasn't looking good with stars for some reason. So I decided to go with some teeny gold ones, but they're kind of lost as well. And you will see at the end that I decided to rip those off and replace them with something else. And here I decided, oh, I'll add some more gold stars here, and this is going to look great. And I forgot that I had intended to use some stickers from the advent calendar. I looked at both of these that have strips, and I chose that red one that says, December stories have my heart. So peeled off the gold stars, and then accidentally stuck this down slightly crooked. So I got it pulled back, restuck down. And then I still didn't like the gold stars with it. So I dug some white chipboard stars out of my stash from last year's chipboard set from 2020 and added those on instead. The gold was fine. It just, for some reason, just wasn't giving me the vibe I needed. I needed something that popped more, because that Baked with Love in white is just so vibrant and the journaling is vibrant. And I just needed something else. So I started to use the little white stars from that set and remembered that I have another set that I could pull more from, and I could save those others. So I'm just going to compare a few little sizes here, see what fits. And then I'll add 2 here, and then I'll also decide to pull out those gold stars on the Holiday Cheer circle and put 2 little white chipboard stars there as well. So overall, happy with how it came out. Tried not to over embellish. I really had wanted to add something to that upper right hand photo, but with the fact that there's already designs on
all four, it just would have looked too busy.
Okay guys, just wanted to share one last look at this layout. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Can't stop, won't stop with this holly paper. It's just everywhere in my album. One thing I did notice is that my Stays On ink was kind of bleeding a little bit, but I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to redo it. You can still read it. And I'm happy with that. I love all the little popped up details here. I love the way the right side came out. I was a little bummed because this laid down crooked, this red strip sticker. So it's a little wrinkly, but it's got texture, I guess you could say. Ended up changing those gold stars for white stars, as you saw. And I even really like the journaling and the way this came out. So I stuck with this Hiku inline font that I've used a few times throughout the album. It resembles Allie's fonts that she had chosen for these kinds of cards, and so I just did that as my kind of like title there, and then did Remington Noiseless for the journaling. Right now these are floating loose. I'm not sure what I'm going to do to make them stay in place. I'm going to wait until the other side. So potentially what I will sometimes do is inside the page protector, I'll just put a little piece of sticker here, and then sometimes I'll mount something over it. So we'll see. I'm not sure. I don't want to staple them in place, but not 100% sure yet. And I also really love this little added detail of the little tiny piece of pattern paper I added here. Instead of doing a star like I've been doing to help draw attention to it, it just needed a little something so it wasn't, you know, so plain. But other than that, happy with how it came out. Felt like this size I picked to create my own template really worked well with covering most of the stitching. Can't really see it because it's green on green, and I'm going to keep this in my stash for now because I was happy with that. So thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to keep going and share day 20 with you. I've already got some ideas, of course, you know, that's why I was pre-planning some things for this side. And yeah, hope you're enjoying watching. I know some people are kind of out of the Christmas spirit because December's over, but I'm still really excited to keep working on this until I get it done. And just also a reminder, if you're not already subscribed, do so and you'll be automatically notified when I post new content. Thanks so much.